Hey everybody, Andy Kvernen here with another Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. I wonder, have you ever had somebody come to you and ask you for something that you just didn't have, and it caused you some anxiety? That happens to me from time to time. Sometimes people come to me as a pastor and ask if I can do something, or if I can provide something, or if I can tell them something that they're looking for, and I just don't have what they're asking for. And sometimes that can cause me anxiety. This morning I was listening to a podcast, and the person that was being interviewed on the podcast defined anxiety as worrying about that which you cannot control. And isn't it true that the resources that we have are often out of our control? We often can't control what we have available to give to somebody who's asking of us. And there's an instance in the book of Acts where Peter and John are doing some teaching, and they're approached by a man who has some significant needs. And I want to bring you to Acts chapter 3 where this takes place. And here it is. It says in Acts chapter 3, verse 1 and following, "Now Peter and John were going up to the temple at the hour of prayer, the 9th hour. And a man, lame from birth, was being carried, whom they laid daily at the gate of the temple, that is called the Beautiful Gate, to ask alms of those entering the temple." Now, this would have been a common scene for somebody to be outside the temple to ask for help from the people of God as they went to worship. In fact, giving alms was a big deal in Jewish culture. And so what better place to ask for people to express their faith than right there as they go to worship. And so it makes sense that this man was there. And so the text says, seeing Peter and John about to go into the temple, he asked to receive alms. He asked Peter and John, hey, would you give some money to me so that I can live, so that I can be supported? And I love what the text says here. It says, verse 4, "And Peter directed his gaze at him, as did John, and said, 'Look at us.'" In other words, hey, do you see who you're asking here? We don't have much. We're men of Galilee. We've just been with Jesus. We've just followed him. We kind of left our profession to be with him. We don't have much. Look at us. And in verse 5, it says, "And he fixed his attention on them, expecting to receive something from them." The man is persistent. Hey, I'm asking. You're a person of faith. This is what you do. Verse 6, Peter said, "Look, I have no silver and gold. I don't have it. I don't have what you're asking of me." And again, for me, when that happens to me, when people ask something of me and I don't have it, that can cause me some anxiety. But I love what Peter says here. He says, "I have no silver and gold, but what I do have, I give to you. In the name of Jesus Christ, rise up and walk." The man asks for alms. What does Peter give him? He gives him healing. And of course, here in the book of Acts, God uses some miracles in order to substantiate the message of the apostles. And God doesn't give all of us the opportunity to tell a blind man, hey, I can't give you silver, or a lame man, hey, I can't give you silver and gold, but I can heal you, so get up and walk. God doesn't call all of us to that opportunity. But I love that Peter is this transformed apostle who used to worry about all kinds of things, including that which he couldn't control. And now here, his faith simply dictates to him, look, I don't have to give the man what I don't have. I don't have silver and gold. What I do have comes from God. And so in the name of Jesus, in the power of Jesus, in what Jesus has provided for me, I'm going to provide for you what I have. Get up and walk. And it says in verse 7, "And he took him by the right hand and raised him up, and immediately his feet and ankles were made strong. And leaping up, he stood and he began to walk, and he entered the temple with them, walking and leaping and praising God. And all the people saw him walking and praising God, and recognized him as the one who sat at the beautiful gate of the temple, asking for alms. And they were filled with wonder and amazement at what had happened to him." Now, suppose that Peter fretted about what he didn't have. And suppose that he went around trying to find something to give this man, some silver and gold, some money. Suppose how the story would have been different. It would have been very commonplace, very mediocre. I don't think it would have made the text of the New Testament. But here, when Peter recognized, hey, I can't give you what I don't have, and instead he gave what God provided, great things happened. The people were filled with awe, and Peter's message was substantiated. In fact, he'll go on to speak one of the most powerful sermons in all of the New Testament, really in all of history. And God used what Peter didn't have And instead, what God provided for Peter to do way more than Peter could have ever dreamt up on his own. Friends, how often are we pursuing that which we don't have? And how often does that cause us anxiety? I suggest let's stop that pursuit. And instead, let's start operating out of what God gives us. Maybe it's our spiritual gifts. Maybe it is silver and gold. God gives some of us resources and He calls us to give. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's energy. Maybe it's attention. Whatever it is, let's be a people who, in the name of Jesus, give what God provides, and let's let that be enough. Friends, have a great day, and God willing, we'll see you again soon on the Cornerstone Connection.